Hi everybody, I'm Jordan Rolfus from Beagle Rampant Productions, and it is once again that Christmas holiday time of year where we sit back, relax, and enjoy some of our favorite Christmas movies and the video games associated with them. And for me, one of the best Christmas movie video game combos is Batman Returns. It takes place at Christmas time, it is therefore official Christmas entertainment, but you can't really discuss Batman Returns, the movies or the video games, without first mentioning actress Sean Young's appearance on the Joan Rivers talk show and her campaign to play Catwoman. Now, Sean Young, of course, is an actress who is most famous for her roles in Blade Runner and Wall Street, and she was in several movies throughout the 1980s and 90s, and then once the new millennium hit, she kind of did more independent projects, but we're going to take a look at how she appeared on the Warner Brothers lot in a homemade Catwoman outfit, and she wanted to meet with director Tim Burton, who ultimately did not see her and didn't grant her an audition or anything, and she took out some of these frustrations on the Joan Rivers talk show. Now, I gotta confess, when I was first planning on making this video, I was definitely in the school of thought that Sean Young was being completely insane for doing all of this, but the more I looked into it and the more research I've done, she definitely has some points, and she has reason to be frustrated with this. She definitely seems to get screwed over a little bit, but she also maybe overreacts, and there are things that are definitely questionable from a psychology and a security perspective here. She definitely does things that just raise a lot of questions, and I gotta admit, I am a Tim Burton fanboy, a Tim Burton stan. I have the Tim Burton, A Child's Garden of Nightmares from the Ultra Screen series of books there, and it's required reading for any goth Tim Burton fanboy here, so my edition may be a little old, though. I think it only goes through Sweeney Todd, but I'm definitely a Tim Burton stan, so it's going to look like I'm taking Burton's side through a lot of this, so I'm going to try to be as fair as I can, but just know, I'm a Tim Burton stan, so I may look a little one-sided. I'm going to try to be fair, though, and give Sean Young every benefit of the doubt I humanly can, but let's sit back, relax, and take a look at Sean Young's appearance on the Joan Rivers talk show and the crazy controversy that involved the role of Catwoman for Batman Returns. So after Joan Rivers' monologue, they introduce Sean Young and bring her out in her homemade Catwoman costume, but I'm not really getting those feline feelings from it. I'm getting more of a Batgirl vibe. And as Sean Young is giving her introductory speech here, the music is really weirdly engineered. It's kind of louder than how she's speaking, so definitely some criticisms there.
For the director of Batman 2.
So here she refers to the film as Batman 2, so I guess they hadn't finalized the title Batman Returns at this point.
How dare you not make time to see the Catwoman, not even so much as granting me a meeting. How very rude of you. After all, I was in the original Batman cast. How dare you not even return the Catwoman's phone calls. I don't make phone calls very often, and after all, business is business, and doing good business means that you return your phone calls. It's a pretty simple formula, Timmy. How dare you treat the Catwoman so badly? Have I ever been anything except professional with you? Have I badmouthed you? Did I show up late for rehearsals or something? I even jumped up on a horse I was scared to death of because you asked me to. And when I had an accident and fractured my shoulder from falling off that horse, you didn't even send me a get well message. Seems to me old Timmy takes himself pretty seriously now.
Okay, so a couple of things here. Sean Young was actually originally cast to play Vicky Vale in the first Batman movie. But for the famous horseback riding scene, you know, it's your favorite scene from the movie, right? She fell off of the horse and fractured her shoulder, so they ultimately had to sign on Kim Basinger at the very last minute. So, yeah, I could see why she's a little upset at not even getting the opportunity to audition to be in the sequel. She's definitely onto something there. She was totally screwed over, and later on in the interview, they'll mention how she signs a release form to not sue Warner Brothers. And yeah, I definitely have some sympathy for her here, but it's interesting, though, how she was going on, have I badmouthed you, Tim? But she goes on to pretty much badmouth him nonstop throughout this interview, and she even says he's taking himself too seriously now. So in one sentence she says, have I badmouthed you in any way? And then later on she goes on to straight up badmouth him, so it's a little weird. And also, you have to wonder, what is she trying to accomplish with this? Because Michelle Pfeiffer had been announced to play Catwoman by this point. I doubt this appearance on the Joan Rivers show is going to get Tim Burton to change his mind, especially when she's kind of slamming him here. I don't see what the actual end game is. Is it to just vent some frustration? It doesn't make any sense to me. Why is she actually going through and doing all of this? And once Sean Young takes her seat, Joan Rivers goes ahead and shows her some kitty toys, and she even puts on her own Catwoman mask, and Joan even ends up sitting on some kitty litter here. Yeah, Doctor, it's me, Jordan Rolfus. Yeah, no, that's actually, cleared up there. I'm actually watching Joan Rivers in a Catwoman mask sitting on kitty litter, and I kind of don't hate it. Yep. Drink some vodka. That's what you prescribe me for everything. Okay, thanks, Doc. What?
No problem with Michelle as a person or another actress, but...
Why?
But is she the Catwoman? Well, we'll see.
We'll see.
Yes, Michelle Pfeiffer is definitely Catwoman. Nearly 30 years after the film was completed, she is still viewed as one of the most iconic actresses to have played the role. So yes, Michelle Pfeiffer is definitely Catwoman. There is absolutely no question about that.
Why do you all want this role so badly? Why is this becoming such a big thing?
Because this is why. Hollywood has become an unfortunate situation where art and commerce, you know, are at odds, and art is sort of like an endangered species, and the big blockbuster becomes what makes it possible for people to gain more power, to do other roles, to demand more and better roles.
So it is interesting that she mentions art is sort of a dying breed in Hollywood, because Tim Burton actually seems to be that director that can sort of reconcile the popular demand and the big money makers with a pure and honest artistic vision. So it's kind of weird that she's bringing up these points about Tim Burton movies. He's the director that seems to have struck the perfect balance between something that can make bigger bucks and also have a good deal of artistic merit.
So everybody knows that, I mean, the first Batman wasn't acclaimed as a fine movie. You know.
Let's put it nicely.
Yeah, and so, you know, but it made a lot of money, so there was obviously something in it that people wanted to see. So
You know, the original Batman is my favorite movie, but she does have a point when she says it was not critically acclaimed. The must-read book, Tim Burton, A Child's Garden of Nightmares, contains a lot of profiles and reviews of the director, and they just seem to love to tear the original Batman a new ass, and I don't think that's necessarily all that fair, but Gene Siskel, one of the major film critics of the late 80s, early 90s, loved the film, and his partner Roger Ebert did not, but hey, Johnny Carson said the film was excellent, and there are positive reviews of the original Batman out there, but yeah, by and large, Sean Young has a point here. The original Batman didn't receive the acclaim that I think it should have, but then again, you know, some random YouTuber guy, what's his opinion worth, you know?
If he wasn't going to use me in the sequel, I can't understand why he wouldn't at least see me.
Didn't you try to see him? Did you?
Yeah,
you did clips of those, right? Yeah.
Did he? He wouldn't see me.
And he thought you had a gun?
Oh, no, he didn't really think that, did he?
You're asking me? That's what they told me about it.
He wouldn't see me. How would I know what he thinks, you know?
Somebody said that he thought you took out a walkie-talkie and he
I had a walkie-talkie, yeah, but I always have walkie-talkies.
Yeah, but they said he hid under a desk. And meanwhile...
Did he hide under a desk?
You're asking me? This is what my people gave me.
So, I could not actually verify the whole Tim Burton hiding behind the desk thing. Actually, I couldn't get his reaction to any of this. And I've worded that weird. It's like I have him on speed dial or something. No, on the internet and looking through old newspaper and entertainment articles, I could not find Tim's reaction to any of this. It's not mentioned in the Child's Garden of Nightmares book here. Oh, by the way, they didn't sponsor this video. I don't know why I'm plugging it so hard, but it is a good book. Yeah, I could not verify Tim Burton hiding behind the desk or anything like that, but later on in this interview, they'll show a sort of small video Sean Young and her team made about the visit to the Warner Brothers lot, and yeah, you look at this and she looks like a straight-up terrorist with this walkie-talkie. She might as well have tattooed "I'm a terrorist" on her forehead because that would have been a little less obvious. There's not a security professional alive who would be okay with this sort of imagery, and if I was working security at the Warner Brothers lot and I saw someone come in with a walkie-talkie, and they wanted to see a particular director, yeah, I would say, okay, Mr. Burton, maybe hide in this closet or under this desk here. We just need to make sure you're safe. Granted, she's probably, you know, straight up harmless, but you don't know that. And the fact that she doesn't seem to figure out that, oh, wait a minute, me appearing on the studio lot with a walkie-talkie is kind of a weird image. That's a huge question mark. Like, why would anybody think that's okay? That's really kind of weird there.
I've met you now, what, 4 times?
Mm-hmm.
And each time you're funny and you're witty and you're adorable. Why do you have this terrible reputation that you're crazy and you're dangerous?
I think do
you have a gun anywhere on you now? I can see you don't.
Yeah, right. What do you think? Do you think I have a gun hidden in there? You just can't work with people who are either dishonest in any way or who aren't strong. You know, if you're going to deal with anybody who has any kind of dishonesty going on, either with themselves or with the world, you're not going to sit well with them, because I'm not the kind of person who's anything but really direct.
Down in the description, I linked to several of the articles that I used to sort of gain a little more understanding about this. And in the Entertainment Weekly listing that I give here, it mentions sort of what Sean actually said during her visit to the Warner lot here. I don't know who got the idea that I wasn't right for the part, but you know and I know that I'm exceedingly right for the part, and I don't know what this Psyduck is. And when the role went to Michelle Pfeiffer, says Young, it was the basic FU symbol, and it made me feel very bad. So, I don't know what sort of language and what kind of temperament she was displaying when she visited the Warner lot, but also, you gotta remember, prior to this, actor James Woods, who she had worked with before, was actually suing her for stalking-related charges, and she allegedly sent him a disfigured doll. Could not verify that. And in that same Entertainment Weekly article, he is mentioned of saying, "I love and admire Sean, and she's actually half right." So it's interesting. So she does have a history of doing some kind of out there things. Things that, okay, they could definitely be classified under the old crazy folder there. But I guess you have to maybe look where she's coming from. She's coming from a position of she doesn't like to be pushed around. She's coming from a place of not wanting to be shoved and kicked around. So, but maybe she reacts to that sort of pressure in a kind of inappropriate way, I guess. It's very interesting. It isn't as binary as she's crazy, she's not crazy. It's definitely more nuanced than all of that.
I mean, I could comment on everybody, but this is the main issue here is that we're talking about a business that has made art an endangered species. It's no longer safe, to be honest. It's no longer, it's like the egos are so rampant. And people's, it's a personal issue now.
Any Hollywood level ego is an ego I certainly don't want to mess with. But it's interesting because a year later, Tim Burton actually gave an interview regarding Batman Returns, and he actually brings up a lot of the same points that Sean Young did during this appearance on the Joan Rivers show a year previous. Now, maybe Burton saw this episode of the Joan Rivers show. I mean, really, how could you not? You know, if something's kind of addressed to you, you know, you gotta look like, what are they saying about me here? But, so take a look at this interview from Tim Burton a year later about egos and artistry here.
I don't know. I don't feel that way. I don't use that. I don't think that way because it's also unreal, you know. It's such an industry based on how well somebody does and not necessarily on talent as much. And so I choose not to get involved and try not to get egotistical about any of that, and try not to get engaged in that sort of behavior.
So as you can see, Tim Burton and Sean Young are kind of cut from the same cloth there. Now, when you get two strong-willed artists who have very different opinions and goals, it's like oil and water, man. They just will not mix, and it'll light up like the 4th of July, and you don't want to be anywhere near the bloodshed there. You just go, ooh, carnage, and keep your distance from the danger zone, man. But, you can definitely see, though, that they have sort of the same artistic mentality, and that they try not to get into the ego thing, that egos and status are ultimately kind of detrimental. And of course, as they continue bantering, they bring up the question of who should an up-and-coming actress need to sleep with to go ahead to make it to the top.
Who would you say to a girl, these are the 5, grab them and jump them?
Michael at CAA, Ovitz.
Mike Ovitz, the head of CAA, the biggest agent.
Yeah, I would say that he'd be pretty, if he would even get into that.
Yeah, what would you say she could get in?
Yeah.
Who else? That's one.
I would say maybe Steven Spielberg could be real helpful.
Steven Spielberg could be very helpful to her, all right. Who else? 3 more.
Jewison, that guy.
Norman Jewison.
Yeah.
Very helpful.
Probably sleep more with directors than with leading men.
So
you know
Tim
what I mean?
Burton.
Or producer.
Yeah, but...
Not if I were paid $1 million.
No, but we just...
Whoa. Okay, I know you and Tim Burton are having a tussle here, but what's with that reaction there? I mean, come on, you guys saw that video, right? How could anybody not want to sleep with Tim Burton, am I right? So they eventually bring out psychologist Dr. Judy Kuriansky, best-selling author and sex therapist, and I love the hesitant applause from this audience member. It's kind of like, oh, okay. I mean, I was here for the sitting on kitty litter and the dressing up as Catwoman, but oh, no need to bring psychologists into this mess here. And ultimately, Kuryansky says it is normal and healthy behavior, and that it's good to surround yourself by a positive support structure and to be creative.
Here is Sean sitting here looking great, fabulous, great body, famous, they know the name, a household name, and she's putting herself on the line like that. Is it healthy?
Very. She has to. And not only in her business, but everybody in all aspects.
Cat women don't cry.
I wanted somebody to say that for so long.
It is healthy.
You see how important it is to be acknowledged?
Yes.
Really? It is.
Why is it healthy?
Now, well, because...
And if I do it, will I look like
What a
her?
relief. Come on, you go even further. Does she not? You sat on kitty litter.
Yeah. But why is it healthy just to totally, why?
Because she's not afraid, just like you're not afraid at all about saying what you want and going for it. Now, sometimes you're going to get in trouble for it. You're going to get criticized. You're going to get dumped on. People are going to say it's silly, or that you're foolish, or how could you do that?
Mostly they say that I'm crazy.
And now let's take a look at the final minute of Joan Rivers' interview with Sean Young and the expert opinion of Dr. Judy Kuryansky here.
We're gonna give you, and we're poor show, you know that. You're sleeping in a closet tonight. But on us at the plaza, we're gonna give you a tape, and we'll wrap it up, we'll gift tape it, and we'll send it by messenger over to Tim Burton.
All
right?
Now,
And we'll wrap it as a gift, so maybe he'll open it.
Maybe could we put a bomb on it too? And it goes like...
Whoa, wait a minute. Did anybody else just notice that joke about tying a bomb to the package? Okay, yeah, I know she was joking, but also, if you're trying to make yourself seem not threatening, maybe that isn't the time to bring out your bomb jokes? And I love how the psychologist just kind of let that one go. I mean, yeah, that's kind of a yikes moment there, I would think, to a psychologist or any security professional for certain.
But see, now you enlisted Joan's help. That is the perfect way to deal with it. To enlist somebody like Joan's help to really get what you want. It's fabulous.
And if you're not Catwoman, the next role, will you come back and talk about that? Mm-hmm. And I don't want to hear, I'm going to do other things, because you should stay right in the business.
You think so?
That's
you
negative.
guys think I should stay?
Yes, that's negative. We will be right back with Terminator 2's Robert Patrick. So stay where you are for Robert Patrick.
So overall, on the Joan Rivers talk show, Sean Young was treated very sympathetically and with great understanding. Joan Rivers was a great and understanding host here, but you know who was not sympathetic and understanding about this whole situation? The writers of Tiny Toons. In the episode The Return of Bat Duck, we can see a very different portrayal of Sean Young.
I should be Catwoman, you know it! Look at me! It's unavoidable! Roar! Roar! You know what to do with me!
You're right, I do.
Ooh, look at the pretty kitty! I'm gonna love you to pieces, you cute kitty witty head! I've got kitty food and kitty milk and kitty litter and kitty toys!
Yeah, so overall, I kind of wanted to, when I initially wanted to make this video, I definitely wanted to fall into the camp of Sean Young is completely nuts, so look at how crazy she is, but the actual truth seems to be a little bit more nuanced than all of that. She's a talented artist who was definitely dealt a bad hand, and she's strong-willed and didn't want to take the shoving around that movie studios just do. It's just the nature of movie studios. But she maybe reacted to all of that in a questionable way, questionable from a psychology and from a security standpoint here. And I looked for Tim Burton's side of the story for all of this, as I mentioned, and I could not find anything about it. It's not in the compendium, it's not on the internet. I couldn't find any information about Tim Burton's take on all of this. So, yeah, that is kind of interesting there, but Sean Young is actually on YouTube. Her channel is not all that updated. It's MSY Pariah. She kind of views herself as a pariah, I guess. It's interesting, to say the least, but the channel is, her most recent video was uploaded last year, almost like a year ago exactly, and someone mentioned, hey, why do you call yourself Pariah? And she says, oh yeah, I've been meaning to change it, but never got around to it. So there is she is kind of active on YouTube, but not the most active channel you can get, but it certainly isn't a dead channel either. And MSY, Mary Sean Young. Her first name is actually Mary. Sean is her middle name, but she uploaded a video about her appearance on the Joan Rivers show, and the description says, my bright idea of going on the Joan Rivers show as Catwoman. At the time, I didn't realize how humorless studio executives can be. Yeah, but also when you barge in and start cussing them out and you have a walkie-talkie, it could maybe tell the executives and the security personnel, okay, we may have a potential issue on our hands. Not saying, you know, oh, you're completely off your nut and you're definitely going to harm us. But any security professional should definitely be aware of that and take that somewhat seriously, you know? And we have some comments here. One from Tiger Milk 808. Hollywood just wouldn't be the same without Sean Young in it. The fact that she's completely nutballs just adds to her indomitable charm. And her response, nutballs doesn't really paint an accurate picture of who I am. Nutballs in the sense that it took me a long time to get sober, yeah. That's very true. However, I wasn't ever a phony piece of shit who slept my way to the top, or lied, or cheated intentionally, or tried to harm anyone else, which is more prevalent than you may imagine. But I get what you mean, and thanks, appreciate it. And Tiger Milk responds, I didn't mean it as a pejorative. Perhaps I could have chosen a better term. Normal people are so boring, though, and you, my dear, are anything but. Having battled it for the better part of my life, I can attest that the insanity of addiction/alcoholism. I applaud you for not only getting sober, but being so candid about your struggles as well. For far too long, those of us with addiction problems have been treated like degenerates with profound character flaws, and though things are slowly starting to change, it still takes a lot of courage for anyone, let alone a public figure, to discuss it openly. And we have another response from YouTube user Scott Herford. You are an important beacon of truth in an uncertain age. I agree with what I have heard you say 100%. Oh, I also loved you in Blade Runner. There's another comment from NexusTube, which reads, was appearing on Joan Rivers' show in costume the full extent of your campaign for the role? Because the urban legend is that you trespassed on Warner's lot or Tim Burton's home dressed as Catwoman. Notice, okay, so I've proven that she does interact with the comments on her YouTube page. There is no reply here. I have not verified any of that. In my research, I never saw anything where she actually physically assaulted anybody. It's weird that she's not mentioning that, that she isn't clearing the air on that. Like, there's this urban legend going around. I myself, for my part, I don't think she did harm anybody. I mean, there's no documentation for that, and yeah, I mean, I don't think she is a dangerous person. No, she is an actress who was dealt a very bad hand and maybe reacted to it in an inappropriate manner. Like, I think that's the extent of it. it is weird that she didn't respond to that comment, though. That's a perfect opportunity to clear some of the air here, but overall, though, while I am definitely a Tim Burton stan, I've come to sort of see Sean Young's point of view with this whole thing. It's definitely more nuanced than, she's totally crazy, or, oh, she's right all along. It's, definitely a nuanced and complex sort of situation here, but anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you hit the like, comment, and subscribe buttons. Coming up, we're going to look at some of the Batman Returns video games, so definitely hit the subscribe button. We'll talk about the games, maybe talk a little bit about the film itself there, and if that doesn't interest you, if you just wanted to get the scoop on Sean Young, thank you so much for watching. You know you're the best. I wish you a blessed and peaceful holiday season, and we'll do some more videos where we talk about the games and film of Batman Returns. Bye!